By the time the formal removal notice showed up taped to our door like a passive-aggressive trophy, the neighborhood already felt different, and that was the mistake the HOA didn't realize they were making. Because when you try to quietly erase two people who've already been quietly seen, the backlash doesn't come from shouting. It comes from witnesses, and the notice itself was vague, full of legal-sounding fluff about repeated violations and incompatibility with community standards, which made me laugh out loud in that sharp, humorless way that comes right before anger, while my boyfriend read it twice, calmly, then looked up and said, "They're panicking," and he was right, because panic makes bullies sloppy, and within 24 hours, neighbors started knocking on our door not to gossip, but to ask if we were okay, if the notice was real, if the HOA was actually trying to force us out, and when we told them the truth, showed the emails, the photos, the inspection logs, the selective enforcement, the room shifted, because suddenly this wasn't about a problem house, it was about power being abused. And people hate realizing they've been living under something ugly without noticing it, especially when the targets are two guys who kept their heads down, fixed their own fence, shoveled other people's sidewalks, and never caused trouble. And the thing about my size about being muscular, intimidating at a glance is that people assume I'm the one who'll explode. But it was my skinny boyfriend who quietly organized everything, who drafted a calm, factual response, who CC'd the HOA lawyer, the city housing office, and half the neighborhood mailing list in one email titled "Clarification Requested," laying out the pattern so cleanly it was impossible to ignore. And when the HOA president tried to spin it at the emergency meeting, her voice kept cracking as residents interrupted her with questions she couldn't dodge, asking why only our house was cited, why rules were enforced selectively, why family values suddenly appeared in the bylaws discussion. And when someone finally said out loud what everyone was thinking, that this looked a lot like discrimination, the room didn't explode. It exhaled, because naming something gives people permission to stop pretending. And I watched the power drain from her posture in real time as neighbors stood up, one by one, saying they supported us, that they were tired of intimidation, that they didn't want a neighborhood built on fear and coded language. And in that moment, standing there with my arm around the man I love, I realized the HOA had miscalculated something fundamental. They thought we were isolated. But isolation only works when silence holds. And silence had already broken. And by the end of the meeting, the removal notice was under review. The inspections were paused. And the same people who once avoided us were offering rides, legal contacts, and baked goods like solidarity came with carbs. And walking home that night, past houses lit warmly instead of watchfully, my boyfriend leaned into me and whispered, "They tried to push us out," and I finished the sentence without thinking. But they woke everyone up, and for the first time since we moved in, the neighborhood felt like it belonged to us too, not because we asked for permission, but because we refused to disappear quietly.